Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to our workshop. We'll be working with augmented and virtual reality today. So I would like to say welcome to all of our creators and our allies to our workshop for Niantic, which is our partner. Shout out to them for wanting to help you guys learn more about their Eighth Wall product. We're going to do a little bit of an overview of how Eighth Wall works, how easy their studio platform, the Niantic Studio platform specifically is, and how you guys can use it to make your own facial features, filters. So let's go ahead and jump in. So Niantic Studio is a free browser-based tool for building immersed WebAR experiences. So our goal today is to demystify how we can create face tracking filters that respond in real time with no app needed. And the table of contents, the overall workflow for this workshop is just talking about what Niantic Studio is, doing a user onboarding. So if you have your laptop, you'll want to use that then, going through the steps on how to make your own filter, and then talking what you can do afterwards. I've gathered some resources for you and shared some things about next steps, how you can take it further, and then also sharing a survey with you for our own creator community, as well as for Niantic's community, which will take 1 minute, I promise. So let's talk about what Niantic Studio is. Niantic's mission is to empower creators to build next-generation immersive XR experiences right inside of the web browser. But can we ask, why do you want to use WebXR as a technology? And why would you want to use Niantic Studio product? So when you're working with Niantic Studio, it allows you to build augmented reality experiences right in the browser. That means creators can reach 3.5 billion smartphones across iOS and Android instantly with no apps, no downloads, no waiting. You can just launch it and you can engage. So we're seeing that here's an example of a cute little polar bear Yeti looking guy hanging out in a WebXR environment. This is more virtual reality, but the way that you'll see like WebXR or mixed reality is when we can remove that background and you can kind of see that interacting in the real life, in real world. So you have creative freedom. You can harness the freedom and flexibility of the web with complete control of your content and your launch cycle. So let's talk about some of the features of Niantic Studio. It is a universal platform, so you just need the internet and a web browser to get access to it. It's a very intuitive visual editor, and I see them making improvements all the time. They are just launching an all-new game engine, and the best part about this is it's all free. So there are no barriers of access or entry, which is exactly why our community partners with Niantic, because we're really intentional about trying to get you guys' hands on the tools that will let you work with emerging technologies. And you don't have to spend a bunch of money on very expensive, very hardcore machinery like gaming computers that have, you know, unless NVIDIA wants to ever sponsor us, they have NVIDIA processors in them so that you can run things like Unity, for example, which is another platform, and it allows you to build virtual reality experiences as well in there. So other features that we're not going to touch on exactly today, but just so you know, there are some other workshops that I plan on doing in the future on some of these things too. You can do world effects with Niantic's 8-Wall product. So they have a simultaneous localization and mapping engine that allows you to like use geolocational points to attach different effects that you've created virtually to real world assets, real world locations, coordinates, longitude and latitude. You get 6 degrees of freedom, and you have really, really good estimation on like how these things can interact with the features that you want to bring to life. So that's how you see things like this Whopper visual was made with someone, you know, I think that might be like a rapper or something like that, interacting with it too. Face effects, which is what we're going to talk about and dive into today, allows you to anchor content to various facial attachment points and to create unique and engaging human-centric experiences. So we also have a simulator inside the Studio application, which I love. where if you don't want to, see how only it works on you, you can simulate whatever you're building on yourself, which is what you see this young lady here doing, trying on different sunglasses, which is exactly what we're going to do today. Or you can use the simulator that's built inside of the Studio product, and they will give you a simulated individual that can interact with your items too, so you can see how it looks, not just on yourself, but other people. So keep going. You can also do the visual positioning system. I mentioned that a little bit. That's where you can look at the position and orientation of different real life assets or real life GPS coordinates. So you see how we have this effect of these balloon-like features interacting with a park sign. So that's pretty cool. We don't have a workshop planned on that yet, but I am working on that. So more to come. And you also do Gaussian splats. So while the BPS utilizes meshes, the Gaussian splats rely on connected polygons and textures. So if you just watch this example here, we have, you can see like 3D surrounded items wherever you are. So this statue is actually not there. They're just showing you how realistic it looks because they placed it there just using their camera and augmented reality features. So we can talk about a little bit more of examples for our educational purposes. We'll jump in further. So the reason why it's really important to think about how you want to utilize augmented and virtual reality is how they can be used to bring value in the real world. So we can talk about how people are using it for immersive learning. You'll see a lot of museums nowadays are adopting these types of practices where they're showing you how you can interact with history or historical context because they want to make it more exciting and more engaging for other generations who, more traditional delivery may not connect with them. So this is like a step inside where you can walk inside of a museum and it takes you to a portal to that location, right? Let me go back real quick. Another example is location-based XR, which is something I'm really, really interested in. So using the VPS system, you can also attach real-world experiences or augmented reality experiences to locations. So this is an example of how someone is doing a location-based XR demo, if you will, that is reclaiming and transforming historical spaces, public spaces with their GPS. Okay. So we're going to go through a little bit of a user onboarding. I want to stop really quick and get like a thumbs up from anyone who is following along with their computer today. Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, so through our user onboarding, I'm going to share a few links in our chat so that you can get an idea of how to follow along with me. And I'm going to split screen for you too. So let's jump in here. So we're going to get started. And I have a link to share with you here, which will walk you through how to create an account. How to create an 8th wall account, which will get you access to Niantic Studio. So I'm just dropping that link in the chat. It's just 8thwall.com/get started. And once you're there, you can use the single sign-on with Google. You can create an account with your email. However you want to do it is perfectly fine. I'm going to show you how I quickly create an account without using the single sign-on. I know it can be really tempting to want to do that, but it's okay if you just type it yourself. So that is a guide for you. Sometimes I intentionally misspell my name just for security reasons. But yeah, so we will type in your password. Ugh. Okay. Does not fit the requirements. Oh, sure. We'll add a number here. And then they just have a little option. Make sure you click it to prove that you're not a robot. Let's see if we can get through this CAPTCHA quickly. Let me go. Okay. I'm not a robot. Awesome. So, minus the CAPTCHA, that was super painless. So once you're inside, you'll just verify your email, which I can easily do. And I kind of want to do this in real time for you guys, just so you can have a realistic understanding of it is simple. It just takes a quick second, but it's worth it, right? And then you're in. So it's going to ask you a few quick questions. If you are using it for your company, maybe you have a nonprofit, maybe you are a student or a teacher. I'm a student of life, so I always pick students. Or you can say for personal use, right? How you identify as a developer, as an educator, as a student, you can pick whichever one you'd like. It's going to ask the name of your organization or your school. So I will say CreateHER Fest, CreateHER Community. If you guys want to put, you can use us too. I don't mind. I'll hit next. So it's going to try to create a quick URL, which will be associated with any project that you create inside of it. So it has to be a unique URL, right? So once you get to this point in the walkthrough and you're creating your account, you have to come up with something that's going to be unique to you. So since this is just an example account, I will do a guy. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, it's available. I love that. So a guy is my nickname. So I'll just do a guy. So any of the projects that I create will have the URL 8thwall.com/a guy when I want to share it with people. And then it'll probably add an additional unique slug specific to whatever project I do. So now you're in. That was a painless 5 minutes to jump in. And they're giving you some examples of projects they've already created for you that you can step through a little bit later. We'll skip this for now. And what we're going to do is go through their sample projects. And we're going to locate a custom domain. I absolutely agree, Jasmine. And hopefully my noise canceling is going great. But if not, please excuse the landscapers outside of my home that have awesome timing. So right now we're navigating to 8thwall.com/projects, and we're going to locate an example project that I'm going to dive in with you guys today. That project is face effects. So you should be able to just type it. This or that is one that I love too. I have it in a link at the end of the presentation for you. To kind of pop in a little bit later, but it's the first one that you see called Studio Face Effects. Okay, so once you find this project, you're going to hit Clone Project, and it's going to ask you to give it a little bit of a name, give your project a URL. So you see that custom URL that we created with our username, our slug that we gave. 8thwall.com/a guy for me, and then you would add a project URL. Make sure that you're adding dashes in between the words. So for example, for this one, I did 3 words, so I did 2 dashes. May dash face dash effects can be an example that you guys do, and this will work for you because it'll be a custom slug, and then you would just give it a similar project title, May Face Effects. So that's just for the month and for what we're doing. And you would hit create. Okay. And I'm going to pause here just for those who are following along with me to see if anyone has any questions, any thoughts, if you're stuck anywhere before we dive into Niantic Studio for real. So feel free to come off mic and just let me know. How did you get to that face effects search box? Yes, so let me go back and show you. So once we were, my apologies. If I'm going a little too fast, let me know, guys. So once you created your account, you ended up here. So this is your My Project space, and it's going to show your workspace. It's going to show, you know, the organization you're associated with, or whatever you put in that drop down, that data input. It's going to show if you're using the team features, it'll give you the option for a team. It'll show your public profile, your account details, and then right in the middle, it'll show recent projects. And since you don't have any just yet, it will also show sample projects below. And in the sample projects location, right down to the bottom right, you'll see view all. And that's a shortcut to get to eighthwall.com/projects. And that's how we ended up on the projects page. The projects page is what has the search bar, which is located to the left in the middle. So just a quick backtrack through that, and I hope that helped. Let me know, Jazz, if we got you caught up. Okay, awesome. I see thumbs up. So a quick pop quiz. I did mention in there, I slipped it in there, what a workspace was, but if anyone wants to throw an answer in the chat for me, and let me know what you think a workspace is. If you remember how I described it, you can click A, a place where you can find sample projects, B, a place where you can discover featured work, or C, a place where you can manage your projects, different users, and your billing account details. So you feel free to drop something in the chat for me, and then I will reveal the answer. Okay, Faith put C, Jasmine put C, question mark. We're not sure, but you should be sure because you are correct. So you guys did great. Thank you for that. All right. So if we are caught up, I want to make sure you guys are in the same place with me. Once we clone that FaceFX project and we have our unique slug, our unique URL, and we've entered into the studio, you would see this studio space here. And it would look exactly like mine does. I froze my screen just so that we would be in the exact same location. And I want to give you a little bit of a tour of what's going on in Niantic Studio, because you're officially on the inside now, right? So we have a diagram here that I have for you, and it's going to show you on the top left, we just have our hierarchy of all of the objects and what you can interact with inside of the studio. So that includes your directional light, your ambient light, different types of light, your camera, which is why you see this camera angle here. I'm zooming in and out to make that happen. You can see the object that they're working with, the main object focal point, which is the face. So by cloning this project, the FaceFX project that they have a sample for you, it already creates the environment that simple with 2 clicks on how you can jump in and immediately start working on FaceFX specifically. So this is something that you can repeat in the future. If you have other filter ideas, things of such, it's going to throw you in here with a sample object that I'll show you how to swap out later with your own objects. And we can talk a little bit about how objects are created, but I'll keep going. So in the bottom left, we have any of our assets. So right now we have any like textures, any different models. Right now we're using a face model as well. And when we are uploading additional assets inside, like for this workshop today, we're going to swap out these glasses. A super simple thing. When we swap out the glasses, you'll be able to upload your asset to this location in the bottom left. Okay. The middle space is your viewport. So whatever you're building, where your assets live, how you interact with them, they all are going to exist in that space. Okay. That's considered the viewport. So Niantic has really great documentation for the Niantic Studio product. And if you ever refer to that and you're looking on how to build something or you're trying to follow along, then they'll consider that the viewport. And then we have a simulator. So the simulator is not open just yet on this page. but I can show you what the simulator looks like right here. So this is actually a way for you to simulate whatever you're building and how it looks on the model that's going to be appropriate for your 3D asset. So right now, since we're working with glasses, we have a woman and her face is there. And I'm able to simulate how, you know, she can interact with it. You have different expressions. We can focus on expressions or eye motion, mouth motion, head motion, things like that. So your filters, your overlays can be interactive, specific to these items as well. And then you have some ways you can simulate sidewalks or city parks or the world, lounges, bridges, ferry buildings, anything like that. So different ways that you can use the simulator. Okay. And then to the far right is the inspector. So that just gives you access to your default settings to be able to change your camera, your skybox, any styles, the colors of any of the models that you're working on, your project setup settings. If you want live sync for your preview, which one thing I love about Niantic Studio is it actually lets you interact on your phone, like on your mobile device. So I have a demo that if it plays nice later, I will show you how it works. But yeah, you can actually drop down a QR code that immediately will let you pre-launch, if you will, pre-launch whatever you have built in the studio and then interact with it and see how it works on your own base or in your own environment. And that's just our little tour. Oh, but last but not least, you also have a console at the bottom, which is very small in the bottom right, just because I have you guys split screen so I can show you my map as well as the environment. You can expand or you can collapse the console. Let's see if I can close it back. And it doesn't want to close back now. So that's awesome. Okay, hide console. Awesome. Yeah. So your console is down there, and that's just going to give you like a log of all the changes you're making, anything that you push, etc. Okay. So let's keep going on our tour. We're jumping into our official Face Effects workshop. So Face Effects, they will allow you to create filters, effects, and trigger behaviors based on your face detection events. And this guide that I've created is going to walk you through a simple Face Effects project in Niantic Studio. So now that we've already started with the get started, I've jumped you ahead a little bit. We've created our accounts. You walk through that with me using the link that is in the chat for anyone who has joined us past that point. And we have also navigated to the Face Effects project, and we've cloned it. So just for reference, I'm happy to go back to that project and throw the direct link for it in the chat if you missed my explanation of how you can find that project. Okay. So we kind of talked through how you can name your project, everything like that. I think I just went on autopilot there. And we've jumped into the studio past what we're doing with the glasses feature. I've given a little bit of an overview of how the studio works, but this goes further in depth and lets you see, probably better than what you were able to see on my screen, the different aspects of where your light is, your face mesh is, everything like that, and how the hierarchy works. So we're just gonna go past this. The face itself, which I was showing you here, this is how your clone will look. The face object provides the built-in functionality, and it kind of already has it mapped, has definitions mapped to where your eyes, where your nose bridge and things like that are. And then you're able to use any assets that you build and products like Blender if you are that in depth, or using tools like Poly Pizza or Sketchfab, which I'll show you a little bit later, to grab assets that someone has already built. And the asset would be the glasses. that we're working with right now, right? To be able to attach to your face. Or they could be tattoos, which I'll show you too. There's like a little bit of a tattoo attached to this face too. Different things. So you have your face mesh, and the face effects aren't just for glasses. You can add hats, makeup, tattoos I just mentioned, and even interactive face filters. For example, the tattoos on this model's face. And I'll zoom in just a little bit. You may not be able to see it in the mesh. I'll show you in the actual demo. But the tattoos that are showed, at least in this picture, when I've removed the glasses, on the model's face, you can see that there's actually a texture. So you can modify and create different masks, different face paint, or custom stamps. Yeah, the tattoo says Atlas. So it's kind of like, I grabbed it. These are all samples that I grabbed from 8th Wall, but they're kind of like marketing on the fact that their platform is so simple that you don't have to download something or make someone else download something to interact, which is really cool. Okay, so we can talk a little bit about attachment points. So you will see some of the features of the attachment points inside of the inspector. Remember, the inspector is on the far right side, right? So the attachment points of the face, you can anchor. That's how you anchor your content. You can add additional attachment points to the face in the inspector for the face object. And the face object is what we're looking at here. So it gives you, I'm giving you a list. You don't have to go through all of it, but just to know how detailed this can get, where you can either attach things to the forehead, the right eyebrow inner, right eyebrow middle or outer, left eyebrow inner, middle, and outer, your left ear, your right ear, left and right cheek, your nose bridge and or tip, your left or right eye, the outer corner of the eye or the inner corner of the eye, the upper lip, lower lip, mouth, the mouth right corner or left corner, and the chin. So lots of detail. You also have a head occluder. So to ensure that accessories like hats and glasses fit naturally on the face, we have already, and by we, it's their language. I kind of grabbed this from the documentation. They've already provided a head occluder.glb file with a hider material for you. It's already there, so don't worry about having that to yourself. And that's going to help handle occlusions properly so that the models and the face don't visually overlap. So this is an example of like how you see the overlap and it's not sitting on the nose correctly. Let me go back real quick. It's not sitting on the nose correctly. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you versus how you actually see it placed correctly on the nose here. So details matter. And you're going to notice this kind of stuff too once you're testing it in the simulations, either live for your own face or in the simulation that's built into Niantic Studio. Okay. So step one, we're going to explore some camera controls. So in the studio, there are 3 types of cameras, and you can use them, which are the 3D, the world, and the face camera. For your face effects, you have to use the face camera. So that's already going to be set if you've cloned the project that I shared. You can also increase the number of faces to detect, or you can enable like ear detection so that they run simultaneously. So that's what you've seen done on filters that will notice when there are more than one person versus filters like Snapchat, right? And sometimes they only just see your one face and they'll move it to other people. But there are some Snapchat filters, actually, now that I think about it, that see multiple faces. So let me retract that. No Snapchat hate. So we can select the camera in the hierarchy, and that's on our left-hand side. And then that changes our options inside of the inspector. And then you're also able to make sure face, you can confirm face is selected underneath the camera type. So the camera type is right in this middle area here on the far right. And you'll see that face is selected because we cloned a project that already has the configuration set. And there are a lot of different sample and example projects they have that can get you a lot closer to some of the things that you imagine or you want to create. I'm looking at the time, we might go a little bit over. So you can preview in the simulator. So if you want to preview the project before you're building, the simulator lets you preview augmented reality experiences directly on your computer, making it useful for iteration and development. So you can click the play button, which is at the top. And if you want to see that play button, it's right next to connect a device. You can hit play. And that's how I opened the simulator earlier. And that was on the page where I already had my custom glasses set up. Mine is being a little slow, but I want to be patient. Or not. So just the flip to the file where I already have the simulator open, because I've just noticed it's a little slow. Hopefully it's not slowing your end, but I am running a lot of things on my environment right now. But yes, so it just gives you a video where it has simulated effects happening. You're not going to see anything happening right now because it's still being slow, unfortunately. But whenever, if ever, she feels like walking you through some of the expressions that they have recorded, then you'll be able to see how whatever your object that you have in Niantic Studio is being simulated, you'll see how it interacts. Okay. So now it looks like she's like changing some of her expressions. She's like turning her face. She's giving you different angles to get an idea of like, you know, how the asset that you've placed on her will look. And this is a good way. She's like raising her eyebrow. She's showing you how it moves, the tattoo you see in her top, at least for my end, right corner hemisphere is her head. She's showing you different expressions, just so you can see how the face will interact with the asset on top of it. It's really helpful. Okay, and now we actually have that running here. It looks like it's blinking a little bit, and I think that's honestly just because my simulator is being slow. But this is how the asset that you guys will look on the simulator, because this is what was included in the clone we just did. So we can explore the simulator a little bit further. We have different expressions. We can, she's going through the expressions motion, but you can change the eye motion, mouth motion, head motion, different hand gestures. We're not going to work with those just yet, just because it's not relative to the asset that we're working on. The eye motion is one that you can explore. I'm going to move past it just because I'm trying to be conscious of time. And then you can also customize with your own accessories. So this is what I wanted to show you. So we have in our hierarchy, you can see where the glasses are. And if you wanted to, you could decide that we want to delete these glasses. So you just click the item in the hierarchy itself. Don't click the blue lens or the green lens, but you click the item itself in the hierarchy. You can right click, and then you have the option to delete. So we're going to make an edit to our clone and then make it our own. All right, so you see our glasses are no longer there. So you can use sites like PolyPizza and Sketchfab to be able to download low poly 3D models that are really easy to get. I like PolyPizza because it doesn't even require you to create an account to download a model. So I want to show you this website. This is PolyPizza, and this is a model that I found. They are heart glasses, and I think they're super cute. And I see a question in the chat. So I noticed under the camera, I can see phone, laptop, VR headset view. Does this mean I could create effects for a VR headset? Potentially. Yes, you can. And I'm glad that you asked that. So I'll circle back to that. But yes, you can create different effects under your camera. If we select camera, and I'll show you what Jazz is asking about. You can do, augmented reality effects relative to your phone. You can do anything relative to your computer, your laptop. Right now I have my VR headset disabled. but I do have my Oculus right behind me in my office. So if I wanted to create something that would interact and be compatible with that platform, then I could. So technically what we're doing right now with face effects, it wouldn't be the right model and application of augmented reality that's going to work or be compatible with a laptop, or well, a laptop with your front camera, maybe if you wanted to do that. But a VR headset is going to be on your face. So you would need something that's looking at a face. And technically, I'm sure if you wanted to jimmy rig something where whenever you put your VR headset on, everyone that you saw could have heart-shaped glasses on, right? But we're just thinking about the application. But what that means, though, is when you are using things like their VPS features, or if you're looking at like global positioning and things like that, if you wanted to create augmented or virtual reality effects that went in more the mixed reality direction. So whether you are in your home or you're outside, regardless of what tool or platform you're on, which is your phone or your laptop or your virtual reality headset, which many of them have mixed reality mode, like the Oculus 3, the Meta Quest 3, not Oculus isn't on anymore. Anyway, yeah, so if you have your VR headset and it has a mixed reality mode, then it's a way to make what you're building in Niantic Studio compatible with all of those platforms, if that helps. So that is what we had going on there. Thank you for inviting me to make that tangent. So I'm going to share a link to the heart-shaped glasses that I found, that I love that asset. But overall, I will also just share a link to Polypizza. And inside of Polypizza, you can honestly search for whatever you want to. So you can start from the beginning, from their homepage, to locate an asset that you would like to use for our example today. I just I just searched glasses. Wow, rewired that brain. And you can find a bunch of different styles. This pixel style is what I'm showing in the presentation, but there are lots of other options, right? I ended up finding the heart-shaped glasses later, and I liked them more. So I grabbed that. This one is giving like Terminator vibes if you like him, so you can grab him. And once you find an asset that you like, you'll be able to see the option right under the name. If you let me scroll down, but you don't wanna. Okay, right under the name of the asset, you'll be able to see the option to download it. And I'm not signed into an account, so yeah, it's pretty helpful. One thing I will say is, and I won't do it right now for the sake of time, if you have tools like Malwarebytes or things like that on your machine, you can also use it when you are downloading any kind of just asset or things like that, just to be double and triple safe, or confirm that it's safe, that there's nothing malicious inside of it. Not freaking you out, but I'm just giving you something that could be a really good practice, right? But you can just scan the files that you download. But yeah, so this is what we're going to work with today. And if we have any more questions, feel free to just drop them in the chat and let me know. I feel like I am zooming through, but I know we have 15 minutes left and I'm trying to stay close to our timeline. So once you have your asset downloaded, it probably went to your downloads folder, right? You are going to be able to go down to the assets location in the bottom left corner, and then you'll be able to see the different models that exist. Oh, sorry, we're going to start underneath files. Sorry. So files and assets can be managed in that lower left panel. That's where I showed you assets in the diagram. You can use that plus button on the side to add your new glasses file. So when I click there, I can do upload. And it's going to, and it feels like it, open my downloads folder, and I have an 8th wall folder that I've organized with different face effects. And for me, that's where my heart glasses file lives. wherever you organized yours on your machine is where the path that you'll navigate to. So I went to downloads, my 8th wall folder, and face effects. If you download it directly to your downloads, then I would just look there for whatever is at the top or at the bottom, depending on how you sort. So I'm clicking open. And we're gonna give it a quick second to let that upload. And then you'll be able to see that heartglasses.glb file has been uploaded and it's available at the bottom. Okay. So if I click on it, I can see what I can interact with inside of the inspector. And as it's slowly loading, it's showing you my options on that. Okay, so when you want to attach the model, you can just drag and drop it, which is super simple. So once you have it inside of your assets dropdown, you can just drag it up here. And I'm gonna hold it over the nose bridge because that is the asset point that I want to attach it to. Okay, so that is where it's located. You can see that that is not exactly correct, but we have it added, and I'm gonna kind of let you see me. It took me a couple of minutes to kind of finagle with this, but you can use the actual features. I can't think of the word. I have it somewhere in my presentation. You can use the movement features inside of the file itself to reposition that. Let me get the actual word. So when you're attaching the model itself, you want to change the viewpoint. So as you see, it's just dropped in there at the exact viewpoint that Holly Pizza has it configured to drop in, but we can change that. So we're going to zero out this first row for the position. You'll see your X, your Y, and your Z axes. So I just zeroed that out to kind of get it centered for my viewpoint. And then on the scale is just going to be 1, 1, and 1. Don't zero out the scale because the scale is referenced to the size of your asset. And if you zero out the scale, it will be non-existent. Hopefully that makes sense because it will be 0. So what you can also do is kind of play around with the position and the rotation in these areas too. So if I were to rotate the X position to 45, then I rotated, I did like a 45-degree rotation on the X axis of the asset. So if I were to do it on the Y, that's 45. What if I do 90? Let's do, what was it, 270? Okay, 270 has me in a direction, and I did not zero out my X-axis rotation, so you see it's slightly tilted. So all of these things are happening in real life. So it readjusted me to -90 because it just decided that that was better instead of my 270, but that works too. So at least we have the asset now facing us. And if I can go to my slide that explains the scale adjustment, I'll get there. So when you're adjusting the scale, just so I can stay on track, when you're adjusting the scale, you can easily rotate, move, or transform your objects to fit what's going to be best for the face. Now, I also like the fact that for simplicity, the scale of these glasses is perfect for a face. But there are going to be situations when that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? So changing the scale here is how you would be able to adjust that. But I'm not going to mess up the scale in this moment for now. But however, you can change the scale in a more granular manner by using the X, Y, and Z axis, or you can click the scale option here, and it allows you to, I can't think of the name of these things, the red, the blue, and the green, they're references to the actual axes you're on. So blue is reference to the Z axis, green is reference to the Y, and then the red is reference to the X axis. You can actually move. They're sliders. I think that's the word I'm looking for. They're sliders to let you move along these different axes so you can adjust your asset. We don't need to because our scale is perfect. So the Niantic Studio's visual editor lets you create these 3D experiences, and we can adjust the viewpoint by using this kind of spherical model at the bottom. So if I click on the blue Z, then that will show you the viewpoint from the Z axis. Green will show you the Y. X will show you the red. Simple, right? And I'll just hit home when I want to go back to the way it was. The gizmo, the viewpoint gizmo, that's the reference. I want to give you guys the right words. I will use what's-a-majig, and that is not correct. So once you are working on like building your project, you can start with clicking the build option in the toolbar, and then you'll just wait for it to proceed. But before we do that, I kind of want to turn off scale. We're still in scale, remember? I'm going to go back to the translate, and I kind of just want to adjust this. So I'm using the scroll on my mouse to change my viewpoint right now, just so you guys kind of know how I'm doing that. And I want to use the Y axis to move the glasses slightly down closer to the nose bridge. And I went too far. Okay. So I also can click and drag if I want to change my viewpoint too. It's probably the more simpler way to go about it. Actually, my scale is not perfect. Look at that, guys. Oh, so I'm going to go back to the viewpoint. Once I clicked the glasses, it took me out of being able to move the viewpoint and the scale. But let's see what we can do. I want this a little bit higher. I'm going to make this bigger for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. I'm moving the glasses up on the Y axis, but I want to change the scale because it actually could be. Undo. You also have, back and forward arrows over here too. Is it the X axis that I want to? I don't like that either. Let me see. I'm getting a little particular on this now. I don't like that. So I'm going to actually play with the scale over here so that I'm making everything congruent. What happens if I change this to 1.5? And if you see, the way that I'm troubleshooting through this is I'm honestly just playing around with it to see what is going to give me the look that I'm going for. Let's see if I make it 25% larger. See how that looks on the face. So I'm looking from the back. Okay, that looks like I like that scale a little bit better because it looks like it would just sit a little bit better over the ears. So just so you guys are keeping up with me, from the way the asset was uploaded directly from PolyPizza into our Niantic Studio environment, I added about 25% to the scale on the X, Y, and the Z axis to make the size of the glasses a little bit more congruent with the face model that we're working on. And you will see the difference when it comes to live simulation and the simulator that's built into, I should have showed you that too, the simulator that's built into Niantic Studio. It's just a little bit slow. So I'm eyeballing this, and it's okay. It's very forgiving, but you can eyeball it, and you can use the tools that are built into the Studio product to be able to make sure that you're getting the look that you're going for. I feel like this is going to be slow, but we're going to give it a second. Oh, I need to click build before. So reference guys, click build before you try to pull it into the simulator. I'm going to close this real quick. And then I need to make sure that the simulator is pulling the most recent push. And it feels like it. I'm sorry for my impatience. And this is also how I kind of eyeball how I want an asset to sit on the face. Okay, it's loading, kind of positioning itself. It looks like it's a little bit high up on her nose bridge. So I'm going to click on the asset again. I'm going to get out of scale first. So in the top left corner, I'm going back to translation. And I'm going to move the y-axis lower. And we're going to refresh. I might have to build first. Yeah, I just made a change. So every single time you make a change to your asset and you want to see it reflected in the simulator, you need to hit build first. And this goes for if you're using the live simulator too. So for the sake of time, I kind of want to show you the live simulator as well. So we're going to see these big heart glasses on our virtual asset right now. But one of my favorite features of Niantic Studio is the fact that you can connect your device and it's very seamless. So if you hit connect device, you don't have to turn on debug mode, but it gives you a QR code. So you take out your smartphone or tablet, open your camera, and then you hold your camera up to the QR code. I need to do that again because I zoomed in too much. And if you guys are looking or focusing directly on my machine, you can actually do this too with me. And it's going to take a quick second to load. But it will give you a live camera view of yourself interacting with the glasses or with whatever asset that you decide that you want to work with, which is being a little slow for me right now. So for the sake of time, I'm going to circle back. But if you guys caught it, you should have been able to interact with that as well. It would just basically put you there with the glasses on instead of as we're looking at like the woman in the simulation. Okay. So let me go back to my presentation. And let's keep going. So we're testing in the simulator. We can jump past this a little bit more. If you want to use the front-facing camera on your device, you can click the front-facing camera icon. If you can see where my cursor is, right at the bottom left, right corner of our mid-position simulator, there's a little option down there where you can turn on your front-facing camera. And interact. And just a reminder, if you want to use the simulator, you just hit that play button next to connect device, right? So when you want to make updates and anything that's you moving the asset, scaling the asset, adjusting anything on the different axes, whether it's position, rotation, scale, anything like that, adding an asset, removing an asset. You want to commit your changes. So if anyone participated in our GitHub workshop the other week, then you're familiar with this concept. Once you satisfy with your changes, you can land them. And let you see what that looks like. And you also want to add comments. So I referenced similar to our GitHub workshop. You have a lot of comments whenever you're making new commits to your code. So I'm going to name this. Okay. So then you'll be able to click the land files. If you want to publish this and make it publicly available, you can hit land files and publish. That button is going to be the most useful once you guys really get into the nitty gritty with Niantic Studio and you're making files, you're making assets, you're making augmented reality projects that you're sharing with other people. And let's say you come in after the fact that you publicly shared it and you add something or you make an adjustment. You'll be able to land that file. So you'll make a new commit to your repo in a manner, your project. You'll make a new commit to your project. And then you'll also publish that to the public version that everyone is actively using in real time. Right now, we're not doing that just yet. So I'm just going to hit land. But just so you know, that's what that is there for if you're updating something that's publicly available. So we'll let that go. So once you're finished making your changes, kind of like getting your glasses situated the way you want, you can publish it. When you're publishing any of your projects, you can add cover images, you can add descriptions. And that's how you make these things look a lot more professional, right? Like if you are someone who wants to start building out a portfolio of the projects that you're building inside of Niantic Studio, then that's how you can kind of give them a little branding, even if it's specific to your personal brand. Thank you, Darlise, for sharing the survey. All right, so once you have published your project, you'll be able to go ahead and interact with it using the connect your device. I have just a little video, if it feels like playing, that I can play for you of me interacting with these glasses. And while I pull that up, I am happy to answer any questions for you guys. But that was a little bit of a speed run. I might extend the time for the next workshop that we do. But yeah, that was a little bit of a deep dive into you using the face features, the face effect features in the Niantic Studio for the first time. I'm hoping that it wasn't too much information, too much of an info dump. But I have more information to share with you while anyone may want to ask any questions. And at this point in time, if you guys want to come off mic and ask them, you're welcome to as well. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so to see your, when you look at like the QR code and use your phone to see if it's to see how it actually looks and everything, for that view, do you have to land the changes first in order for it to, I guess, be up to date?
Yes, you do want to land the changes first. Because otherwise, if you've made any changes, you may not see all of them represented. You know what I mean?
Okay, so landing the changes is essentially like the save button.
Yeah, building your project. I'm thinking through this. Technically, if your project is not public, if you're not sharing it with someone else, if you're just building, if you're in the build stages, technically, you don't have to click land changes or publish yet. You actually can just click build. Yeah, so to be realistic with that answer, you actually, the most important button there is just seeing your changes relayed when you're working specifically with the simulator is that build button. So that's the real answer.
Gotcha. Definitely.
Yeah, that was a good question. I am throwing some links in the chat for you guys. This is our 8th wall support. Their documentation in their community is there. I'm also playing a video for you that is linked to my phone in real time, and it's getting a little dicey because I guess I'm have too many windows open right now, but it's showing me interacting with the glasses. And that's kind of what you'll be able to do. And you can go to forum.eighthwall.com to be able to look at their support forum. They have their documentation, which is really, really good, especially if you want to get further into like developing for VR headsets. That is available. I showed you the project library and how to get to that from the account that we created for the first time at the beginning. But that is the eighthwall.com/projects that I wanted to share with you guys. I have a lot of links I want to share with you, but I'm just going through the list, so it's also on the recording. This is a project, the This or That project. I referenced this at the beginning when we scroll past it in the project library, but this is an example of a project that uses face effects and it lets you like choose. So if anyone has ever interacted with the This or That game on like a TikTok or a Snapchat or Instagram, they all have their own versions. This is actually how you build one. So if you guys want to play with this a little bit, it would be really easy to clone this project and then to make your own version of the This or That game. So I think this is super dope. This is exactly what I mean by they have so many different resources in that project library that you can work with and make some really cool projects. And then I also wanted to share, I shared Poly Pizza with you. But the other website where you can join for free and you can get some really cool 3D assets is Sketchfab. Now, when I can schedule it, you can get really down into the nitty gritty with some of these 3D assets and creating your own .glb files. And you would be able to do that for free if you're into it, if you want to go there, and if you want to go to that level of creativity and expression using Blender. So I think we have maybe 1 or 2 workshops if you want to go to the catacombs on our YouTube page that actually reference Blender. If you want to dive into it today, it's up to you or how spicy you're feeling. I just want to make sure that I get this reference since I'm bringing it up. I want to reference that correctly. We have like a Snapchat lens workshop that we did earlier in this year of 2025, or it might have even been at the end of 2024. Where is that? Exploring augmented reality, hands-on with lens. Correct me if I'm wrong, Darlise. I think we went into Blender on that one, or was it a different workshop? If you're there.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, so that would be a great place to start today before I'm prepared to jump in with you guys. But you can reference, exploring augmented reality, hands-on with Lens Studio. That was an amazing workshop done by our creator, facilitator, Shavi. She's super dope. And she's also a member of our Discord. So if you guys have questions about Blender, definitely tag her or reach out to her on LinkedIn because she's really accessible too. I'm trying to think of other things to give you guys. I know we're about 10 minutes over, but yeah, that is what I have for you today. Do you have any other questions? Just going through my notes to see if I can think of anything else. If you guys are interested in sharing, creating some paper trail behind what you have done today, I think that would really be a dope thing to do. So what you can do is once you have your project created, I'm gonna go back to the account. You can go back to your workspace and then you will see that project there and you have a link. So if you share, you share this link with people after you land your changes, after you commit them, and then after you publish your project, you'll be able to like share this on LinkedIn and have other people interact with what you've built. So if you're interested in taking it that next step, play around, poke around through Poly Pizza, find some other assets that you like and that you may want to add to this project, make it your own, and then publish it and share it with us, and see if you can get any of your friends to interact with this and to get a screenshot. If any of you guys would like to support CreateHER Fest, you're welcome to interact with what we have built today and take a picture of yourself using, let me open this in the new tab just to make the QR code bigger for you. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I'm gonna make my browser bigger. It's gonna get a little funky because it's making me make my browser bigger. Woo, child. Okay, there you go. That's the biggest I can get this QR code. But if anyone would love to support us and would like to take a picture of themselves interacting with our filter, I'm just going to leave this up for about 30 seconds and feel free to grab that and share on any social media. You can follow us at CreateHER Fest on all platforms. So that is CreateHER Fest on Twitter, CreateHER Fest on Instagram. You can follow our channel on YouTube at CreateHER Fest. You can also find us on LinkedIn. That's the one I didn't include. So before I absolutely forget, I have a survey. Darlise dropped the survey in the chat for you guys, but I did want to share for those of you who stuck around, our community survey, a quick QR code for that. And that's also in the chat if you want to scroll up to Darlise's comment. And then also a quick survey. If you could please, any of you, anyone who's still here, please complete this 1-minute survey for Niantic. It gives them feedback on anyone who is interested in using this product. They want to continue to make more stuff available for you guys. They want to continue to support communities like CreateHER Fest. And getting this kind of feedback and knowing that people are using their Niantic Studio, using their products, enjoying them, learning how to use them, and then creating impact around them is going to continue to motivate them to support initiatives like this. So if you can, please complete the survey. Yeah, it would be really great if you did. And then also for the survey link that Darlise shared, if you have other thoughts or see any cool, examples inside of the project library for Niantic Studio that you would want to create or want to do a workshop or like a jam session maybe within the CreateHER Fest community, let us know. You can find us in our Discord, which is also CreateHER Fest, but I'll drop the link to our Discord in the chat. Yeah, and if you guys run across things as you are exploring, and I didn't make that a hyperlink, as you're exploring some of the projects and the products that we're introducing you to, we always want to know what you're interested in. So feel free to share and we'll dive in with you, especially if you get stuck or if you have a great idea and you want help. You're going to find like-minded people inside of our community that will probably want to build with you. So with that, you guys have officially made your first project in Niantic Studio using augmented reality on the 8th Wall platform. And I want to congratulate you all. So I'm going to give all the congrats emojis in the room. And I hope that you guys can congratulate yourselves. So yeah, I'm really proud of you. And I can't wait to see what you build. All right, I will sign off for now. Bye. Okay, I just had to close for the recording. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. It didn't actually stop.